welcome to the Office of Economic Development Business Information Session. My name is Margaret McGee, and I'm the Business Services Manager. Business services assist entrepreneurs and business owners in starting and growing their business. We help in navigating through the different departments within city government to obtain permits and licenses. We also connect the business community with organizations that can provide technical assistance, incentives, resources, and other programs beneficial in operating a business. One way we do this is to host business information sessions. These sessions are held throughout the year, and topics are gathered from entrepreneurs, surveys, and information we collect from the business community. This is a series of 4 sessions focusing on certification, requirements, and benefits. Today we have Mr. Mark Samuel, the Regional Director of MBE Services at the Southern Region Minority Supplier Development Council. And we also have Ms. Paula Roddy. She's the DLT Program Director at the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development. They both will share their expertise on certifications and much more. To keep down distractions, I ask that attendees please turn off your video and mute your speakers. I ask that you put your questions in the chat box. We will have a Q&A section. When we get to that section, I'll call on individuals and you can unmute yourself and ask your question. All handouts will be shared within 24 to 48 hours after the meeting has ended. Now I will go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Samuel, and he'll be followed by Ms. Roby.
Good morning, and thank you for that great introduction. I am Mark Samuel. I am the Regional Director of MBE Services for the Southern Region Minority Supply Development Council. I'm going to share my screen as I have a presentation, and again, I'll go over this. And if you want a copy of this presentation, please put your email address inside the chat section, or you can let Margaret know, and I'll get a copy of this. All right, hope you can see my screen. Let's see. Sure I have.
Yes, right now we see the Zoom.
Hold on. Let's see, let me stop. All right, there we go. Okay, great. All right, again, I'm going to give you a brief overview of what we do. And who we are. So let's start with this. I'm going to talk about the council a little bit. I'm going to talk about our designations, which we have are listed, registered, and certified. I'll speak on the eligibility, the MBE, the designation process, of course, the benefits, eligibility criteria, and our mandatory documents. So the first and foremost of who we are. Again, we are the Southern Region Minority Supply Development Council, and we are located in New Orleans. Okay, now we cover 4 states that comprise the regional. That's Alabama, Arkansas, and Louisiana, and Mississippi. So in order to be certified with us, you must be headquartered in one of those 4 states, all right? Our designations. Prior to the last couple of years, if you wanted to be affiliated with our council, you had to be simply certified. We found that was a lot of businesses that were startup companies and may not really have all their documentation together, but they could still be affiliated with us. With that said, we have a couple of other programs now. We have the listed, which is a regional designation that involves a simple review process. Of course, you must own 51% of your business. We've also got registered. That's also a regional designation that involves a limited review of, a limited review process. It uses inquiries and analytical procedures. Now, certified is the top of the food chain, so to speak. Nationally recognized and the most widely accepted minority business designation in the private sector and it involves a more thorough review process. But again, on all three of these is you must own at least 51% of your business. Now, going back to listed and registered, those are primarily good for if you're a startup company. Also, if you have a non-traditional type of service. An example would be typically when we say certified, that's dealing with corporations and they're looking more for, I guess, your traditional businesses like, I guess, like metal or consulting and things of that nature. Listed and registered, more geared toward you doing MBE to MBE business. Again, we have gotten some barbers, retail stores, and things of that nature are more geared toward the listed and registered. All right, some of the benefits. Going to be listed, of course, you get access to premium networking events, diverse information, also corporate to diverse business opportunities. You get placement in the Regional Minority Business Enterprise Database, access to our monthly and weekly communication that highlights all events and bidding opportunities, and also opportunity to pay for listing on MBE Marketplace and Job Board, and access to capital. There's different programs that we try to help you get capital on because that we understand simply that that's a big issue when it comes to minority businesses. It's access to capital. On up to the registered, of course, you get the premium networking events. Again, the same thing with the personal development and training and placement on our minority business enterprise database. And you get free placement to MBE Marketplace and Job Board. Again, access to capital. Also, you get access to our monthly and weekly communication that highlights all events and bidding opportunities by our public and our private business partners. Of course, you get the regional advocacy for ethnic minority businesses. Now, the top of the food chain, again, so to speak, is certified. Of course, there you get all the benefits that were listed, enlisted, and registered. And you get placement on the National Minority Business Data Enterprise, access to partners and resources under an MSDC Council network, and regional and national advocacy for minority businesses. On here, talk about the eligibility. Now, on the eligibility here is like the businesses that have capacity to fulfill procurement opportunities with large corporations and other MBEs. And of course, you must be a majority owned by U.S. citizens who can validate the ethnic origin in one of the 4 historically underrepresented minority groups, which include Asian Pacific Indian, African American, either Hispanic or Native American. Must be a member of those 4 groups. I think unlike the city program, which is the DBE, which I think is race and gender neutral, again, understand we certify strictly based on ethnicity. Okay, criteria. Businesses that are interested in applying with us, they must also satisfy the following criteria. You must be legally organized, established as a full-time and for-profit entity, because we are a nonprofit and we do not certify nonprofits. And you must own at least 51% of your business and be a U.S. citizen and a naturalized citizen, again, who are one of the 4 groups: African American, Asian, Hispanic, or Native American. Minority group, so the minority group members' ownership, it must be real, substantial, and continuing. And the business must be under the day-to-day control and guidance of the minority members. That's very, very important. Is the buck really has to stop with you. So you have to be able to make all the decisions, saying, I guess, the hiring and firing and things of that nature. So everything has to come back to you. All right, some of the mandatory documents that we're going to require. Again, if you need a copy of this presentation, I can get you a copy of that as well. We're going to have a driver's license, a proof of citizenship for all your owners, partners, and shareholders. So if you have multiple owners, we need the documents for all of them. We need proof of ethnicity for all owners, partners, and shareholders. Now, this can be sort of tricky because we know a lot of birth certificates nowadays don't have ethnicity on them. So if that happens with yours, we can accept parents' birth certificate, we can accept a marriage license. A lot of times that has their ethnicity on there, or we can also accept like medical documents now. When I say medical documents, please read back any medical condition. We're not, not trying to be that intrusive. So again, any kind of medical condition on that, please redact that information. We can also take like your military records as well. We will also need a copy of your current resume, and that's of your partners and executive staff. And we need 2 years of business federal tax returns, including all your schedules. Now, if you've been in business for less than 2 years, we will take your personal tax returns. We also ask you for your financial statements because we try to match that up again with your federal tax returns. A copy of your federal EIN number, a bank signature card. Now that is simply a letter from your bank that states who has the signing authority on your account. Please do not send us a copy of your bank card because, believe it or not, I've had someone upload a copy of their debit card. Of course, we deleted that for your protection, so it's a bank signature card. And then last, we need the declaration of certification of minority status. Basically, that has to be notarized. It's simply stating that you are a minority owner and you attest to that. Okay, here again for other documentation that we're going to ask for. I'm sorry. You're an LLC. We're going to need a copy of your certificate of organization and your articles of organization, state filing receipt. Also going to need an operating agreement. Now, we understand a lot of companies who will say, I'm a single owner operator, I don't need one. These are mandatory documents that we still are going to require. And honestly, an operating agreement is for your protection as well. And it's simply a blueprint of how your company is structured and ran. We need proof of capital investment. What that simply means, if you started your company, let's just say with only $500, because that's what was your filing fee. That's your capital investment. Well, we need proof of that. Now, if your company is over 5, 6, 7 years old, we understand you may not have that proof. Please upload a statement attesting to where you got your funds from. We need minutes of your last meeting where members were identified and elected. Now, on this here information, if you don't have minutes, that's fine. Simply have that in your operating agreement that you don't, because remember what I said, an operating agreement is a blueprint of how your company is structured, okay? Last but not least, if you were organized outside of Alabama, Arkansas, Louisiana, or Mississippi, you must submit a foreign entity. A lot of people will say, and I'm not being funny, but a lot of people will think, and they'll submit not a foreign company. All we're saying is technically foreign to the area of Alabama, Arkansas, or Louisiana, and Mississippi. That's why you need a foreign. Again, if some of these items, they do not apply to you, simply put NA on some of those minutes, all right? But everything else is going to be mandatory. Now, if you are a corporation, you're an S corporation, you're going to need articles of incorporation. We need your corporate bylaws, which is the same thing as an operating agreement, which is LLCs. We need minutes of your first organizational meeting, minutes of your last board of directors and shareholders meetings, and copies of stock certificates. Now, and a stock transfer agreement. Now, again, like I said before, if you're like a single member company, or maybe just a couple of people that are in your company, and you don't have minutes, things of that nature, or stock certificates or stock transfer ledger, simply make sure this information is in your corporate bylaws. Because again, like the operating agreement, a corporate bylaw is simply a blueprint of how your company is ran. My company, and like if I have a company, I'm the president, I'll list that information. If I don't have meeting minutes, I'll put all that in there, I'll sign it and date it. But also remember too, corporate bylaws and operating agreements, they must be signed and dated in order to be executed, all right? And of course, with the foreign entity statement is the same on corporation. Now, our process is you submit your application with supporting documentation. There will be an initial review and desk audit, and we'll have a site visit. Now, of course, since the pandemic, a lot of things have changed, and so we now conduct site visits in person or virtual. It just depends on how comfortable you are. We have a certification committee review. We have a board of directors approval, and then after that, the MBE will be notified via approval or denial, or if we require more information. And that'll be during, that'll be via email or a phone call. And obviously in step 7, there's an MBE orientation. Now, the regular process may take 30 30 to 90 days. But the information on this is, again, it's determined to be complete. So if your application is not complete, if we're going back and forth saying we need certain documentation, that time frame or that clock does not start counting until the application and all supporting documents have been uploaded and complete. And also something else just to note too, when we say these documents mandatory, I've had people to argue back and forth that you don't need this or you don't need that. This is a process that we need. Again, we want this to be very thorough because our corporate partners look at us to vet all the companies and make sure people are who they say they are. So, when we ask you for certain documents, we're not trying to give you a hard time. It's just documentation that is mandatory and that we do need. Now, I'll give you some other information too. So when you submit your application, there's some things to think about. This is some information that I've gotten from some of our corporate partners. Please make sure that you have a professional email address, preferably with your company name in there. You'll be surprised some of the email addresses that we've gotten. And they're not very professional. And even though the corporations won't say anything to you, a lot of times they will mark your name off the list. Something else you should also think about having. I don't care the size of your company. You need to have an online presence. You need to have a website. First thing that corporations are going to do when I submit, like when they source to me and say, okay, an example would be if Entergy comes to me and say, I'm looking for companies that can cut back vegetation. I'll send them a list of everybody who's in our database. And the first thing they're going to do is go to your website to see your web presence. If you don't have a website, more likely than not, they tell me they are not going to use your company. Also, what you need to look for too is even as a small company, is you need to have some kind of plan or safety plan with regards to cybersecurity. That is very important now because, as you know, they have a lot of the ransoms online. But another example, I'm going to use Entergy again, because I know that's something that they're looking at. Because actually was able to speak with them. The issue is if they're doing business with you, you don't have a strong cybersecurity plan. Someone is able to hack onto you or through you, they can reach Entergy through you because they've hacked your company. That's just something important, and they're going to start requiring that as well. So you always want to have a leg up things like that. Last but not least, if you need to contact me, this is my contact information here. This is our website. This is my direct line. That's my email address as well. Please feel free to call me or email me. I'll answer any questions that you may have. I'll walk you through the process. Understand too, also, when in regards to fees, we do have a fee and it's a tiered fee. So an example would be if you're earning less than $1 million, our fee would be $450. If you're earning between $1 million to less than 10 million, it will be $650. From 10 to 30 million, it will be $850, and anything over 30 million would be $1,100. Now, also to keep in mind, different things with us, because if you look at our documentation, I would tell you, if you do decide to get certified with us, please make sure you keep your package, you keep all the documents that you're going to submit or a copy of them, because if you want to be 8A certified, which is with the SBA, a lot of the same documents are going to be required. That's something as well. Also, a difference with us is there's no graduating out. So there's no cap on what you can earn. I know, again, with SBA, if you earn $1 million, you graduate out of their program. With us, I'm happy to say that we have some MBEs in our region that are earning, or should I say, grossing upwards of $300 to $400 million a year. And that's with one company, and another company in Alabama is grossing around $200 million a year. So that's the beauty of it is there's no cap on what you can earn with our program. And again, thank you for your time, but I will be here for the whole, the entire presentations. And if you have any questions for me, I'll be happy to answer them. Again, here's my contact information. And Ms. McGee, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Samuel. Just want to let everyone know, as always, I will share all presentations within 24 to 48 hours once this meeting has ended. So I will share Mr. Samuel's presentation with everyone that's on this call right now. Also, let me see here. Yes, I think that's it. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and turn it over to Ms. Roddy.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I think I was on the wrong platform, but then I'm now on the right platform. So we have teams and meetings and what have you in Zoom. So I'm where I'm supposed to be now. So if we could load my slide back up.
Okay, 1 second.
All
Okay.
right. Perfect. Thank you, guys. So as Marguerite stated, I am Paula Merrick-Roddy. I am the Compliance Programs Director with the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development. And I bring you greetings from our new secretary, Dr. Eric Calavoda. He replaces Dr. Sean Wilson, who is now one of our gubernatorial candidates. But I will tell you that Dr. Calavoda was my immediate supervisor before he ascended to the secretary position. And he is fully committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion. So there will be no changes as far as this program is going moving forward with LADOTD. So let's talk about how do you get certified with LADOTD. So if we move on to the next slide. We have actually two programs, the DBE program as well as the SBE program. And I will try to speak up. Sometimes I do have some issues with some of my my audio, so I will try to speak up. So our program, we have the DBE and SBE program. The difference between the two programs, DBE stands for Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, and SBE stands for Small Business Enterprise. And the main difference deals with the category, the social category. And so I'll get into that in just a minute. Our program is governed by 49 CFR Part 26. That is a federal regulation, and it governs the Federal Highway Administration, Federal Aviation Administration, as well as the Federal Transit Administration. So each one of those operating agencies is governed by this particular regulation, and we have DBE and SBE programs. Next slide.
I'm having some difficulties.
Excuse me. Forwarding the slides back and forth.
Yeah,
I tell you what, can you allow me to share? If you can allow me to share, that I will control that part of it.
my apologies. I was having some difficulties with getting my screen together here. So are you able to share your screen?
Okay, give me 1 second.
Mhm. Sorry, everyone, for the technical difficulties that we're having at the moment.
Acknowledgement, right away. Almost there. Okay. Can you guys see my screen now? Margaret?
Yes, I see the screen, but the presentation is not up. There we go.
Okay, is that better?
Yes.
All right, there we go. Technology does work when it works well. All right, so as I was stating earlier, we have several certified agencies. So in the New Orleans Hammond region, the Louis Armstrong Airport, as well as the New Orleans Regional Transit Authority. And we also have LADOTD has a New Orleans office. Those three entities can certify companies in the New Orleans Hammond area. And at our headquarters office here in Baton Rouge, we can certify the whole state. And that is in our program plan. So how do you get certified? I heard the gentleman before me talking about the different criteria and what's allowed or what isn't allowed. This is our program is governed by 49 CFR Part 26. And there is in that particular subpart A, it lists all the steps that we have to follow. And so these are the steps. First of all, your business has to be a for-profit business. This is not for nonprofits. The 51% owner has to show that they're either socially and economically disadvantaged. Again, everything is found in this particular federal regulation, Part D, that talks about certification. On the social side, you have to meet one of these presumptive groups: woman, Asian, Native American, Hispanic, African American, and so forth. So your personal net worth on the economic side cannot be more than 1.32 million, and your business size standard for your 3-year gross average, this has actually gone up. So this slide, I'm going to have to revise it. The new business standard now is 30.40 million. And this went into effect March 1st. And so, of course, we know about inflation, costs have increased. So it's looking like the last couple of years in March, they reevaluate things, and that is what is making this business size standard go up. Again, this is a 3-year gross average. So the reason why they use a 3-year gross average, let's say a company has a really, really good year and they go over that size standard, but then the next year you have some anomaly like COVID and you don't do as well. So it is a 3-year running average. So you're not penalized if you have a very, very good year. You don't just get kicked out of the program. The 51% owner must show us that they actually have ownership of their company. They're independent. They're not dependent upon another company for employees or equipment or supplies. And they are actually managing and controlling the day-to-day operations of their fund. So how do you apply? Well, this is our website. You can either go through this website at the very top, dotd.la.gov, or for our Unified Certification Program, there's another link, but it will still bring you to that same application. So if you are going through DOTD to get certified, this is our homepage. And at the top of the homepage in the orange where it says Business Working with DOTD, you would click on that particular tab, and it will bring you to this page. And towards the middle of the page, you see in the blue where it says DBE, you click on that particular tab, and it brings you to our DBE certification homepage. Now on this homepage toward the bottom, you see where it says www.dotd.la.gov UCP. UCP stands for United Certification Program, and that just means that We all follow the same rules. The airport, the RTA, headquarters here at DOTD, we all follow these same rules, and we're part of the UCP. So if you get certified through our, the airport, you're certified with DOTD. If you get certified with RTA, you're certified with DOTD. So you don't have to shop around. You can go to one of those two agencies. Again, if you're in the New Orleans County region, but if you're in any other part of the state, you have to come to us here headquarters. So if you click on that tab, you'll see at the bottom where I have all the arrows. There's the application and other forms that you have to submit to us. Also, once a firm is certified, we have a directory that anyone can access in the United States, and they can see if your company is certified and what NACE codes that you're certified in. So if you click on that, we have the application, also mailing instructions, or you can actually bring the information to our office. And also there's the personal network form that you have to fill out. This is the first page of the application. The application is a little intimidating. It's 15 pages long. However, the application is really not 15 pages because the first several pages are instructions. It's kind of like when you do your taxes, if you're doing your personal taxes, the first several pages are instructions before you actually get to the actual form. And so that's how it is with this. We want you to make sure you read all the instructions first before you start working on the application. Now, this is the application for DBE certification as well as airport DBE certification. So there may be some things that do not even apply to you, so you don't have to worry about filling that part out. Again, this is can be a little cumbersome, but this is what's required for the from the federal regulations. There are also different documents that you have to submit to us as well. Now, within these 15 pages, we have a checklist, and the checklist goes down and it tells you every single document that you need to turn in to us, your business taxes, personal taxes, any types of agreements or bylaws or things like that for your company. Once you have filled out everything, and I always tell people, when you fill your application out and you have your documentation, please do not send us your only copy. Make sure you have copies of what you send to us. I would also suggest people send the information to us via FedEx or send it certified mail so you can track it. Once we get all your information, we will contact you and let you know this has been received. The specialist will then review everything and contact you to let you know if there's something that's missing or something isn't filled out correctly, or if we need some additional information. And we go down the checklist. So it's very transparent. The checklist is in the application, but we also, when we get your information in, that's what we're going down. We're going down that checklist. So once everything is in, we've reviewed everything, the specialist will contact you and schedule a site visit. Now, before COVID, we used to actually go on site for a person's business, but now we do everything via Zoom. Now, there may be some instances where we have to come out in person. For example, let's say you are saying that you are a supplier and you have a warehouse. Well, we need to actually come out and see, do you actually have a warehouse? Do you actually have supplies? So that would necessitate us coming to do a in-person visit. For the most part, it's a Zoom visit, and again, but on that checklist, we're asking you about your business when you started your business, and we're talking to the 51% owner. We're not talking to someone that is not a 51% owner. It's not that other persons or persons could not be there, but the person that has to answer all the questions is the 51% owner. After we've completed the site review, the site visit, the specialist will write a report up. The report then goes to our compliance attorney, and the attorney reviews everything. If everything is in order, then we have a certification review team that meets. And again, we go over everything according to that checklist. And if all the regulations are met, then that firm can be certified. You're certified that day, you go into our database that day, we send you a letter that tells you what your NACE code that you're approved for, as well as a certificate that's good for a year. If your firm is not, let's say there's something missing, or we have some questions, you can vote to defer your application, and the specialist will contact you to get some more information. If your application is denied, that's not the end. The company can then request an appeal, and it goes to our other UCP members. So what they would do, so let's say you apply with DOTD, and we deny you, and you come back and you appeal, request a hearing, and that will go to the airport and RTA, and they will make a determination, should you be certified or no, should we still deny you? If it's voted that you're still to be denied, that's still not the end, you can then appeal directly to USDOT, United States Department of Transportation, and they will review everything. We will send them all the information, and they have a final say-so. So if they uphold your denial, then it's denied. But if they say no, overturn, they should be certified, then they will let us know, and we put the information in that particular event. So, perfect world, your company has been certified. How do you maintain your certification? Every year, about 6 weeks before your anniversary date, we will send you an email along with an affidavit. It's the same affidavit that's in your initial packet. So we'll send you a new affidavit where you attest that you're still a part of that social category, you're still economically disadvantaged. You get that notarized, you send that in with your current taxes, you review everything, and again, if you still meet all the regulations, that's all you have to do. We will send you a new letter with a new date and a new certificate with a new date. That's all you have to do. Now, if you don't comply with that, we don't just kick people off the road. We try to contact you again, we'll try to email you, we'll try to call you, because, if you get decertified because you didn't turn in your affidavits, then you have to unfortunately go through the whole process all over again. And we don't want that. So we want to make sure people are being cognizant of getting those annual no change affidavits back into us on a timely basis. So once you've been certified in certain NACE codes and DOT work codes, let's say you want to expand your codes. You have gotten a new type of certification, you have acquired some new expertise or what have you. You can request what's called an expansion of business services, and that is a form you fill out, and you provide documentation to us to prove that you can do this work. We have people all the time who want to come and add codes, but they'll say something like, well, I took a class in this. Well, that's good and fine, but we need to show that you actually did the work. So if you took a class, then you got a contract with someone and you did the work and they paid you for the work. We need to see that documentation, because we don't want to just pass out codes and assign codes and you really don't have the expertise to do that type of work. That is a liability for you, that is a liability for DOTD. So again, when we ask for all this documentation, we're not being the media, we're requiring something of you that we don't require someone else. That's in the regulations. We have to show that you have expertise in those particular work items that you are requesting. And this is how the application looks. You fill out the top part and ask us what codes that you want. And again, do a write-up and also attach the documentation. And this is the declaration page, and again, you are attesting that all of this information is correct. And again, we give you a checklist of information and things that are needed for us to consider your expansion request. Interstate certifications. So you're certified here in Louisiana. Does that mean you can go to Mississippi, Florida, Texas, other states to get certified? Yes, you can. Typically, other states, the way it works, there's an application, 1 or 2 pages, depending on the state. You fill out the application, and the same documentation that you turned into us, make a copy, send that to the other state. What they will do is contact us for your site visit report. So you don't have to go through that part of it again. They'll get that from us and review it. And if they are in agreement with the codes that we gave you, you possibly get those same codes in another state. And sometimes it does depend on the state, as far as certain types of codes, the state laws might require you to get some other type of certifications before they'll assign that code or be a part of certain organizations. For example, here in Louisiana, if someone is coming from another state and they want to be a contractor, Louisiana requires that they be a part of the licensed contracting board, that organization. So, you know, it might be something like that. So every state is a little bit different. But again, it's a more expedited process. You don't have to go through as much with getting an interstate certification as you did with your initial certification. The question I asked is it possible to be certified in all 50 states and territories? Yes, it is. It's just a matter of, you know, putting in the work to give information to those particular states. So again, this is what that interstate application looks like. All right, so what's the whole point of getting DBE certified? The department has what's called a department DBE goal. Our department DBE goal is 16.7%. As DOT has projects, and we have many projects, we're always having what we call a letting every month. And the letting is the list of all of the projects that are going to go out for our bid. Those projects, we will put DBE goals on them if they qualify. So again, if a project is between 150 and 500,000, it will qualify for a small business element goal. If it's 500,000 or more, it can qualify for a DBE goal. And those goals are project specific. They range from anywhere from 4% to over 20%. It just depends on the particular dollar amount of the contract and the work items on that project. So anyone working on a who is a certified DBE and you're looking to work with a prime contractor, you must be certified 30 days prior to the levy. That's why it's very important if you're going to get certified now, because you cannot wait until the day of the letting to be certified. That's too late. When you notice the contractors goes out, it goes out 30 days prior. It lets contractors know these are the projects that are going to be let. And we also send the directory to them so they can start getting their DBEs in line for those projects that have goals. These are the various types of projects that DOT has. Of course, highway construction, we have aviation projects, IDIQ, design build, and these are those larger mega projects, consulting contracts, inspection contracts, bridge building, things like that. These are the types of projects that we put DBE goals on. And the DBE goal, again, is a percentage of the federal dollar amount that has to go toward a DBE, a certified DBE. Now, I just wanted to briefly talk about the resources that we offer. So once a company is DBE certified, we don't just leave you out there. We have a supportive services, 2 supportive services consultants that will work with you for free. Our certification is free. It's no charge to you all at all. And we have 2 regions. Region A, and as you can see from the map, that is right about East Baton Rouge Parish and everything west of East Baton Rouge Parish. And Region B is the Cameron and New Orleans region. And so Region A, SJB Group is our consultant, and for Region B, it's Urban League of Louisiana. So what those guys do, once you are certified, And depending on what district you're in, we will send your information to them. And what they will do, they will contact you. They offer all types of services to help you in your business and to grow your business. So again, these are some of the things that they do. They can actually help with the pre-application. So they will help you fill your application out. Then we have seminars, webinars that can help you with your business plan, consulting. Every month they put out a monthly newsletter. And so you can see what's going on around the state, not just with construction for a highway, streets, bridges, things like that, but also some other opportunities that they know that they'll need sub-consultants or even crimes. Because just because you're a DBE, that doesn't mean that you can't be applying for contracts if you have the capacity. One other thing I wanted to point out, DBEs who are working on our goal projects, if you are a certified DBE and you have a complaint against a crime, let's say a crime has not paid you timely or something else is going on, let us know and we have a process to deal with that so you can get paid on time. Because once DOTD pays the prime contractor, they have so many days to get the payment out to their subs, their DBE subs. So that's when we will get involved if there's some type of dispute as far as that payment is concerned. So I talked about 49 CFR Part 26. The federal government now is in the process of rewriting all of those regulations. We've got a notice of proposed rulemaking that came out in the fall of last year, and various states and associations. We saw what the proposed changes were going to be, and we submitted comments to those proposed changes. So we have not gotten the final ruling yet. We have some Zoom meetings and webinars where we discuss different things, but with the federal government, they don't move real fast. So as soon as we know what these changes are, I'm sure that if everything's going to be published, then we'll probably have to go through some trainings and have some Zoom meetings or webinars to make sure everyone is apprised of what changes are in effect. So I want to talk just briefly about IIJA. It's now the bilateral infrastructure law. Louisiana is in line, as I'm sure many of you have heard, to get unheard of amount of money. I mean, the largest investment, I think, since probably, World War II, what have you. But a lot of money is coming through our state, not just for DOTD, but some other agencies as well. So DOTD has what we call formula funding. It is a federal formula that takes into account a lot of factors. And we have a set amount of money that we get every year per that formula. Well, if you put some more money into it, that's additional money that we're going to get for those particular formula funds. These are also some new formula programs that the state has come out with that they I'll go into this in just a second. So this is kind of where all the money is going. If you will notice the percentages here, the bulk of the money is going for roads and bridges, and it's to help our infrastructure. And this is the breakdown of all of our formula dollars. And over the next 5 years, these are the amounts of money that will be allocated for this formula funding. We've already received our 2022 money, and those projects are rolling out now. What I was told was there are a lot of projects that have been sitting on the shelf for a while. The projects are ready, the funding was not there. So now we have the funding, and we're going to see an uptick in the number of projects that we have for each of our lettings. I was told that to keep us on schedule, typically we have about 15 to maybe 20 or so projects per letting. To keep us on schedule, I was told we need to go up to 40 projects. So that's a lot of work that's coming down. And that's why I'm encouraging people to please get certified, because we have to grow the capacity, because for this much work coming down, no one wants to turn down work. No one wants to turn down work. But if you don't have the capacity, then you might have to turn it down. So one of the things that I've charged our supportive services consultants with is to try to help our DBEs to increase their capacity. So if you have two people working on the project, if you can hire two more, you've increased your capacity. You've increased your ability to get more work. Again, these are some more of the formula funds. I call everyone's attention to these last three with the arrows, bridge replacement, a lot of money going into our bridges to replace and repair. We have the brand new electric vehicle charging station program that is just really going to take off because electric vehicles are our future. And the construction of new ferry boats and ferry boat houses, which are in very much need of repair. And I point this one out on the ferry boats. I really need firms to get certified in ferry boat construction because when those projects come down, if I don't have enough DBE certified in a particular area, I can't put a goal on it because I don't have anybody who can do the work. And this is one of the areas where we are lacking it. Now, this is some more funding in addition to the other slides that is competitive funding. So the states will be bidding and submitting grants to receive this funding for these different areas. And then once they receive the funding, of course, the state will be applying, but they have to subcontract the work out. That opens up the door for DBEs to take part in these particular projects. Another set of contracts that you may or may not know about that DOTD is responsible for, we are responsible for the FEMA debris removal contracts. One thing that we always have in Louisiana, started in June, hurricane season. And so once we have a hurricane or some other weather event, first thing we want to do is get the debris removed because we have to get everybody back into commerce. Get the roads cleared, the waterways cleared, railroad tracks cleared, or what have you. And so we have two companies that deal with FEMA debris removal. And again, these are just some of the areas where we have to get things moved out of the way. And those contracts can be in excess of $32 million. We also have what we call debris removal monitoring. So that's how we get the reimbursement from FEMA. So in addition to removing the debris, we have to have people coming behind them and actually monitoring how much debris was removed. So we will turn that information into FEMA so we can be reimbursed. So these are the districts. DRC Emergency Services handles these districts. And the other contract, KDF Enterprises, handles the Lafayette area. Now, I hope these slides will be made available to you guys so you can get on these guys' list because as DBEs, as subs, historically, these have been the areas where they have used subs, trucker staffing agencies, what have you. I call your attention to food trucks. One would think, what does a food truck or a catering vendor have to do with highway construction? Well, when the infrastructure is down, they bring in people to clear debris, workers come in, what have you. Well, everybody has to eat. If the infrastructure is down, you have no electricity, you have no water source, you can't run down the street to the McDonald's or the Burger King, people have to eat. So FEMA will bring these food trucks in and caterers to provide food for the workers. Again, if those guys are in our database, when FEMA comes to us and those debris removal contracts come to us, they say, look, I need everybody in your system that's a caterer or a food vendor or has a food truck. I can send that information to these people to let them know, hey, FEMA is looking to you guys. If you on the last bullet point, you see laundry services. There was a gentleman who got a FEMA contract to wash the workers' clothes. Because again, the infrastructure is down, the water is down, but this guy got a water source, he had a laundromat, and he was able to get a very lucrative contract with FEMA just to wash clothes. So I always tell people, do not count yourself out because you don't know what the next weather event or world event will call for, and your services or the services that you provide for your company, might be needed. So when we're looking at the different projects that we have, how do we set a goal? I'm looking at a $20 million project. How do I set a goal? Well, we have a goal committee that meets there, some construction engineers, some contract people, and myself. And this is a formula worksheet that I was made aware of. I went to a conference and they showed us how to do goal setting. And I go to the next slide. It shows you just an example. We look at the work items that are required on a particular project. We look at the number of DBEs that we have for that particular area, because of course, all of our projects are specific to a particular city, parish, or what have you. Well, then we look at we divide that number by the total number of firms that we have in our database, and that gives us a percentage. So if you look on that first line, when it talks about earthwork, for that particular district, District 02, in my example here, that's that's the New Orleans district, the 34 firms certified to do those particular work items out of a possible 92 firms for the whole state. That means I have a 37% availability of firms in that area to do that work. That particular work item for this example project is $200,000. So 37% times $200,000, $73,913 can go toward a DBE. So I do that for each work item, and then at the end, I come up with $1.9 million. I divide that by the total for this project, which in this case is 10 million. So that's an 18% goal on that project. Now, we don't dictate what a prime, who a prime can use as far as the DBE or the work items. The only thing that we do dictate is whoever they choose, they must have a DBE certification in those particular work codes, whatever work codes that they select on that project, and they have to have been certified 30 days prior to this letter. So once again, this is what I do. We discuss it with the construction engineers and contracts, and sometimes everybody's right there with the same numbers. Sometimes we're a little off, or we're far apart in numbers from each other, and we'll discuss it and what have you. But the compliance section has the last say so as far as what the goals can be. All of those goals individually feed into our large goal for our department, which now is 16.7%. It changes every 3 years. So our goal was 15%. We made that goal a couple of years ago. We actually exceeded it. And so we've done better. So now more is expecting of us. So now we're at 16.7. We report twice a year on where we stand with that goal. And right now we're almost at the halfway point because we use the federal fiscal year, October through September. And so we're right at about 8.2%. So we're halfway there. So I'm hoping to keep moving that needle so we do meet our goal by the end of this fiscal year. I always ask people, when I do this presentation in person, I ask for a show of hands, how many of you all went to high school? And, you know, I have hands go up and I might have one or two that didn't go up. And I said, well, I didn't ask you if you graduated. I just asked you, did you go to high school? And I talk about the in crowd. When we were in high school, you know, that was the in crowd. Everybody wanted to be a part of the in crowd. And now is your chance to be a part of the in crowd. Because if you get DBE certified with the LAUCP, that means you're in our database. That can lead to opportunities. As people and information comes to me, whenever they need a particular type of industry, I look up the NACE code. I cannot get that information to you if you're not in my database. Because if you're not in my database, I don't know you exist. So I encourage everyone to get in line, get DBE certified. And yes, there is a line. Last count, we have about 40 companies that are in line now trying to work through the process to get their certification. I only have 2 people for the whole state of Louisiana. You know, the airport can certify people as well as RTA, but both of them only have a few people on staff as well. So it is a process. It's not a lot of workers. The main thing is to get it on. This is my contact information as well as from my staff with their certification. And I will be around, as the gentleman said, if there's any questions or anything. And thank you guys very much. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Thanks, Ms. Roddy. I really appreciate that. Now we'll have questions. We'll start with Ms. Nicole Peters. Ms. Nicole?
Yes. Hey, I was wondering, how is there a length of time that your entity has to be established before you can apply for the DBE?
No length of time. You can be a startup. However, it does depend on something. It depends sometimes on the type of business. So if you say you are a general contractor and you do construction work, but you just started your company yesterday, well, where's your proof that you've done this type of work?
Right.
But let's say you were a teacher and you want to open up a tutoring service. Well, you can show us that you have a teaching certificate, you taught kids, you have a resume and what have you, but you haven't really started tutoring kids in your business. So it's kind of a case by case basis, but there's no set time that you have had to have been in business.
Okay, great. Could I give you an example, or would it be best to email and ask offline?
You can even, I will put my contact information in the chat.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And again, remember everyone, I will send out each presentation. So you guys will get the contact information for both speakers. Mr. Samuel, would you like to answer her question also?
I'm sorry, yes. There's no length of time that you have to be in business, but again, it's like, we said earlier too, that we're going to look at resumes and things of that nature, to make sure that you've done those kind of businesses, or that kind of event or project. Again, is we also rely on NAICS codes, and we verified that as well. I also wanted to offer too, I know a lot of companies that come to be MB certified is they want business, and we get that you're hungry for business. We also want you to know our corporations frown upon the jack of all trades, master of none. So some people will cast a large net and say, for lack of a better word, I can do anything. Okay, you want me to cut the grass? I can do that. You want me to do this? I can do that. No, we want to know what is your core competency. So that's very, very important, because I know you're desperate for business, but if that's outside of your zone, please don't act like it is, because we're going to ask for verification and proof of that.
Awesome. Thank you both.
Sure.
Okay. Next we have Ms. Kelly.
Hi, my name is Kelly Bowman with Bowman Landscaping. How are you?
I'm doing it.
Good.
Okay, so my question, I'm trying to go back to it, is once you are approved for the DBE, how do you find the directories for the individual companies, as well as can you, like, I know we're not a master of all trades, but we're under landscaping, but we also do debris removal. So I'm trying to figure out, do I need to go back in to add more NAICS codes or just leave it alone?
So are you DBE certified?
Yes, ma'am.
If you want to add codes, you have to do an expansion request and place the NAICS codes that you would like to have added to the certification, and provide us proof that you have done this type of work.
Okay. How do we find the directories for the companies that have been issued, like based on, how can we partner up or get on the primary list of the primary contractors? Like, how do we find them?
Vendor list?
Miss,
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Robbie, you're cutting off. It's almost like it's cutting off a little bit.
Trying to understand her question. You're trying to get on a company's preferred vendor list?
Yes, ma'am.
So you have to reach out to individual companies. We don't provide that. What we do provide is on our monthly lettings, you can see the companies that are actually putting bids in. And once you're DBE certified, again, with our supportive services consultants, they can help you make that bridge between your company and a prime contractor to provide your, let's say, your capabilities statement, and also get you some introductions. That's kind of I guess like a triage or a business service that they help us with. Now, they also, they'll have what we call meet and greets, Zoom calls, where we'll bring firms on and bring DVEs so they can meet each other, and, you can tell them what you're capable of doing and your availability and things like that. But as far as the directory for companies that are prime contractors, we don't have that type of directory. Our directory is for DVEs. So when the lettings go out, the notice to contractors go out, we send them our directory as well. So if they're looking for, let's say your company is a landscaping company, if they're
Yes,
looking for landscaping companies, it's on that directory. They can sort by the particular NACE code.
Okay, you said the Urban League?
Where are you located? Are you located in New Orleans?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that would be Urban League. Frank Johnson is our contact person.
Okay, I'll contact him.
And
Thank you.
If you want, you can send me your information, email me your information, and I'll make that introduction and put you in contact with them.
Okay, thank you so much.
And Miss Kelly, we have Miss Connie that's asking, what's your contact information? If Miss Connie,
Yes, ma'am.
yes, you were asking for Miss Kelly's information.
Yeah, she said she have a mobile landscaping business, right? I see it. Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
We have that connection, okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
both. Do anyone else have any questions? You can raise your hand and I'll call on individuals. Okay, in the meantime, if we don't have any questions, I see Mr. David Payton from Goldman Sachs, 10,000 Small Business has joined us today. And if you all don't mind, I would like to give him a moment to speak of the program. I know they have applications coming up soon. So I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Payton.
Thank you, Margaret. Good seeing you, Paula, Mark. I just want to reiterate some of the things that those folks said. So first of all, I'm the executive director of the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses Program. We do 3 16-week growth accelerators each year, totally free to small business owners that qualify. And we show you how to grow and scale your business. I will tell you, many of the folks that come through our program either begin to engage or are already engaged with DOTD certification. And many of them are actually members and have started their growth through SRMSDC, through Mark's organization. So I would encourage you guys to engage that opportunity. But at the 10,000 Small Businesses Program at Delgado Community College, again, we offer 3 cohorts each year, one starting in January, one starting in May, and another starting in September. And again, in 16 weeks, we show small business owners how to grow and scale their business. I mentioned again, this program is totally free, and we're now accepting applications for our fall cohort, which actually starts in September. So we'll be taking applications. It actually starts September 14th through December 13th. So we invite all business owners to apply. Just to give you an idea, there are some eligibility criteria. You have to be in business for at least 2 years, have 2 or more employees, including yourself as the business owner, and have at least $75,000 in gross revenue. So again, what we try to do is we try to help you grow your business. We want to invite all small business owners to apply. Thank you, Margaret. We've been partnered with the city and some of our technical assistance partners and growth partners such as SRMSDC and DOTD. Those folks are out there to help you. I would tell you to engage them as well. So to apply for our program with the Goldman Sachs program, you can go to the website 10ksbapply.com. 10 the number ksbapply.com, and I'll also put it in the chat as well. Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you, Mr. Payton. Thank you so much. I'm glad to have you join us today.
Thank you for having me.
So are there any more questions for any of our speakers? Okay, well, it looks like you guys did an awesome job. We don't have that many questions. I mean, you explained it to the T, every detail. Thank you so much. Okay, so we'll go ahead and conclude the meeting if there's no more questions. Thanks everyone for joining today, especially our guest speakers for their awesome presentations. Within 5 to 10 business days, this session will be available on the Office of Economic Development YouTube channel, along with previous recorded sessions. This will conclude this series of business information sessions. Remember to check your emails for more upcoming business information sessions. And I hope you all will join us again. Again, my name is Margaret McGee. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions or if I can help and assist in any way. I'm hearing some feedback. Is that me or is that someone trying to ask a question? Okay, I think it was some feedback. Okay, so thanks everyone. Again, everyone have a great day.
All right, thank you, Margaret.
Thank you.